Shocker! Turns out the Galaxy Fold isn't dead after all. You know what? I wouldn't have to keep saying I told you so if motherfuckers would have just listened to me in the first place.
Want daily tech news in a way that doesn't suck?
Of course you do.
Hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next episode.
Hello, welcome to Front Page Tech, of course, show that gives you all latest tech news from one geek that is me to another that is you. Happy Thursday. Hey, before we jump into the news, got a quick question for you. Put out a tweet yesterday that I'm going to ask you here on YouTube because we're really curious. Why do you watch Front Page Tech every day? What is it about this show that has you coming back every day to watch? Let us know in the comment section below. You do that, and I will do my part, the news part. I will tell you the thing about news. Oh, okay. Butchered that. All right, so first of all, story numero uno, number one for the day. Let's talk about Samsung, the Galaxy Fold. It seems Samsung is giving us not a date, but a month when this thing is actually going to come out, when it will finally be released, like 4 months after they delayed it. So good news. So according to Samsung, the improvements have been made. The Galaxy Fold now, the screen is better protected, ready to rumble, ready to go in your pocket, ready to be folded up a bunch. Here's what Samsung says they changed. Number one, the top protective layer of the Infinity Flex display has been extended beyond the bezel, making it apparent that it is an integral part of the display structure and doesn't look like a fucking screen protector like it did before. Don't rip it off. Number two, it now has additional reinforcements to better protect the device from external particles and shit getting inside of it while maintaining its signature foldable experience. Number three, the top and bottom of the hinge area have now been strengthened with newly added protection caps. Some metal layers underneath the Infinity Flex display have been included to reinforce the protection of the display itself, and the space between the hinge and the body of the Galaxy Fold has been reduced. But wait for it, this is my favorite part. It's the same price. Samsung confirmed that the price will be the same as before upon release. Well, when it was supposed to be released the first time, $1,980, $1,980, the same price. They almost shipped this thing completely fucked up, delayed it 4 months, canceled pre-orders, all that jazz, and they're still gonna put it out for the same price. That's ridiculous. I mentioned on the show before that Samsung, there is no way they're gonna make their money back on this thing. They already put 8 to 9 years of engineering into this before they even announced it and released it. Well, you know, they were gonna release it. And then they had to pull the whole thing back and re-engineer it to protect it to release again. So a whole bunch of other money went into it now. So like double the money per device. Even if they sell all of them, they will not make their money back on this device. It's just not gonna happen. And if you've watched this show before, you've heard me say time and time again that it's not about the consumer anymore. It's not about the customer. So before you go down and put in the comment section that nobody cares, no one's gonna buy it, why is Samsung doing this? They have to do it. This isn't about you anymore. They don't care if you buy it. All they care about is their reputation. This matters for the future because I told you before, the history books will not remember how many units of the Galaxy Fold sold. All they will remember is whether it was released at all. I will repeat myself again, the difference between us ever believing Samsung ever again when they announce that they have a brand new innovative product to give us, the difference between us believing them and not believing them is the Galaxy Fold. They have to release this on principle alone, for their reputation alone. The consumers ain't about us anymore. They gotta do it. So even with some of your favorite YouTubers saying that it was dead, that we were never gonna see it again, that was it, the Fold is gone, and that it doesn't matter anymore, the hype's dead, no one's gonna buy it. Even with all that stuff, I told you they still gotta release it. It's not dead, they're gonna release it, and here we are, September. They're announcing September. We don't have an official date though, so I think the best move for Samsung would be at the Note event, the Note 10 event on the 7th, just somewhere in that, give us the actual date. So for now, it's September. At the event itself, it's not going to overshadow the Note. No one's going to choose the Galaxy Fold over the Note. That's not how it's going to work. Just give us the date. Just try to slide it under the radar. The best thing for Samsung is to create just the least amount of attention on this as possible. So at the Note event, just be like, oh, also Galaxy Fold this date if you want it. Just do that. Call it a day. That's the best thing for us. Samsung, good job. Got to release it. Sorry it sucks. But, you know, I hope between now and then, though, you guys are like testing it and stuff. So, you know, this doesn't happen. But there you go. It's not dead after all. I tried to tell you. I know when you guys hate, I say it, but I have to do it. I gotta do it. I told you. All right, now let's talk about Bookface. A fine happened to them. So the FTC has wrapped up their investigation in terms of privacy scandals against Facebook and come to a conclusion and decided a fine. And that fine is $5 billion with a B. That's the largest fine ever placed against a tech company. And this is exactly why Facebook does not give a shit, and they don't have to give a shit about privacy, because after all the scandals, years of stuff, years of an investigation, it boils down to a measly $5 billion, and Mark Zuckerberg is laughing because this is the penalty of them getting caught. This is them in trouble. This is them caught and in trouble, and all they gotta pay is $5 billion. Freaking Mark Zuckerberg accidentally spends $5 billion. Like, the other night I had a dream. I dreamt that I didn't have a screwdriver in the dream. So at some point in the middle of the night, I don't really remember doing this, I woke up, rolled over, got on my phone, and ordered a tool set on Amazon. Like, on accident. Just like, I was barely awake, barely remember doing it, had a dream that I needed a screwdriver, so I woke up in the middle of the night, in my sleep sorta, and bought a tool set. And it was like $30 or something. I did that accidentally. Mark Zuckerberg does that accidentally with $5 billion. This means nothing to them. They can get in trouble, they can fuck up, they don't have to care about privacy, because even when they do get in trouble and there's an investigation against them, this is it. $5 billion. You gotta be kidding me. So in other words, absolutely nothing will change. Nothing will change. It doesn't matter. We'll forget that this even happened. It doesn't make a dent in anything. All right, so speaking of U.S. governmental stuff, the Department of Justice, as we told you before on the show, were willing to allow the merger to happen between T-Mobile and Sprint, but there was a catch. They needed to create a fourth carrier. So yes, T-Mobile and Sprint wanted to merge to make one giant carrier so they could better compete with AT&T and Verizon. So we would have 3 carriers here in the US, 3 major ones, not talking about the MVNOs and all the random shit. It seems like we got an agreement, but it's weird. So we told you Dish was in talks with them to sort of buy up Spectrum and become the 4th carrier. That's apparently happening. So I guess Dish has reached a deal with T-Mobile and Sprint. So when T-Mobile and Sprint merge, Dish will be that 4th carrier. So the deal here for Dish is that they're going to acquire their prepaid businesses. So that's Boost Mobile. They're going to acquire Boost Mobile for $1.5 billion and then additional Spectrum assets for another $3.5 billion. So with this going through, that effectively it leaves a green light for T-Mobile and Sprint to do the whole merger thing. We're good to go. It's finally gonna happen. But as I mentioned before, this just feels icky and like defeats some of the purpose. T-Mobile and Sprint merging is so that they're big enough and have enough spectrum to compete with AT&T and Verizon. That's the whole point of this whole thing, because AT&T and Verizon as US carriers are so freaking massive that this is what was required on the other end from T-Mobile and Sprint to compete. That part I agree with. I think that's really, really cool. I agree with that all the way. The issue that I have here is now this feels like a bunch of old people in the Department of Justice just being like, just making up a random rule so that they feel like they had a say. They feel special at the end of the day. Like, okay, yeah, but you got to do this because we said. We still got to have a 4th carrier. They're just making it harder for fucking absolutely no reason, because competition, when it's all fucked up to begin with. So here we are. Now, there we go. Old people, are you happy? You get what you want. We get a T-Mobile Sprint. We get a T-Mobile Sprint. We get a T-Mobile Sprint merger and another 4th carrier from Dish. Yay. Yay. So happy about this. Oh my God. Yes, this is went exactly as planned. And that's the show. Hopefully you liked it, you learned something. If you did, hit that like button. If you hate my stupid face, hit the dislike button. If you're new here, subscribe, and we'll see you guys tomorrow.